Our understanding of good nutrition goes back as far as 400 BC when Hippocrates said, "Let food be your medicine and medicine be your food," referring to the food that nature provides for us, the human species. But this isn't 400 BC. This is the US 2014, where 80% of prepackaged processed foods sold in our country are banned in other nations, and where the increase of processed foods has been linked to the continual increase of disease. The US Department of Health reports that on average, 580,000 Americans die each year due to highly preventable diet-related diseases. And to think that within those deaths are hundreds of thousands of more people who lost a loved one and were left wondering why and if they could have done more. Dr. King strongly advocated the idea that all hearts should beat as one, regardless of one's race, class, age, or gender. My question is, how can all hearts beat as one if some hearts are unable to beat? Because the truth of the matter is that we cannot fight against, let alone experience, discrimination unless our internal organs get the food that they need to function. Just as health author Augustine Burroughs said, "When you have your health, you have everything. And when you do not have your health, nothing else matters at all." As a health communication student, I am eager to educate and advocate for a more equitable solution to health inequality. With what you learn about the food industry here tonight, I hope you will help me push back against their deceptive practices that rob us of our right to a healthy life. So how does the corporate food industry rob us of our right to a healthy life? The food industry understands how diverse its audience is with regard to social class, race, health status, and education level, and exploits these differences for profit. For instance, have you ever wondered why there is a higher prevalence of fast food restaurants in low-income neighborhoods? And why research shows that often economically disadvantaged groups live farther from stores with healthier options? It's because fast food companies have recognized the financial benefit of offering low-income families cheap and accessible food. And the sad truth is, areas with high concentrations of fast food restaurants are almost 3 times more likely to be high in mortality rates, according to a study published in the Canadian Journal of Public Health. How is this just? How does anyone allow the food industry to profit by taking advantage of the disadvantaged and rob their right to a healthy life? And it doesn't stop there. In response to a study reporting that children eating school lunches are 2 times more likely to be obese than students who pack, the Obama administration took a proposal to Congress to make school lunches healthier. This genuine attempt to lessen health inequity for school children was destroyed by the food industry. Food companies lobbied in Congress, preventing Obama's proposal, and even got a bill passed which allows tomato paste on frozen pizza to count as one of the required serving of vegetables that schools provide. Just as Dr. King said himself, injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. The injustice experienced by the disadvantaged and school children in America is an injustice to us all. And as if this unjust act isn't already hard enough to digest, we must now explore the deceptive practices that perpetuate health inequality. The food industry can attribute a majority of their success to their ability to manipulate and deceive consumers into thinking that their products are actually healthy. This allows companies to craft their food labels to hide the deadly truth. For example, we see this in some forms of fruit juice in the supermarket, with a big and bold claim on the front, "No sugar added." And yet, with a closer look, we find that the product is concentrated fruit juice. What is that but a form of sugar? I can't help but think about my mother in this situation, a type 2 diabetic who spends every day monitoring her each and every bite in order to sustain her life on this planet. And for someone who must monitor her sugar intake closely, how can a food company feel good about tricking her into thinking that she isn't consuming extra sugar? This form of trickery is seen in various labels all across the shelves of the supermarket. Chicken, raised without hormones. Well, that's awesome, considering the FDA does not permit the use of hormones in poultry. Made with real fruit, yet companies don't have to provide the quantity of the fruit in the ingredients label, and often will add minuscule amounts just to make the claim. And when a product is a light version, it often refers to the flavor and not the ingredients. The flavor might be lighter, but you aren't saving calories. My point is that the food industry doesn't just take advantage of our disadvantages, but also infringes on our right to know by deliberately misleading us. Let it be known, the food industry's deceptive practices breaches our right to knowledge, to know the truth. This is unfair. This is unjust. This is health inequality. So how do we fight health inequality? How do individuals fight against powerful companies who claim that they have our best interests at heart? The solution is to use our knowledge to push back, to refuse to accept and prevent this industry from promoting health inequalities. Armed with knowledge, we must push back to refuse to accept the lies that we've been fed. That is the solution, and it works. Recently, General Mills removed all genetically modified ingredients from their Cheerio recipe in response to thousands of concerned consumers who flooded their Facebook page expressing their outrage. A small group of mothers who shared a vision of health for today's children pushed back. Their success can be attributed to their refusal to accept the Cheerio recipe and that knowledge that gave them the courage to push back and demand a healthier product. If everyone believed that they couldn't make a difference, how could we ever expect liberty to ring for all? And what would have happened if Dr. King had believed that he was just one person who couldn't make a difference? Think about someone who you care for with all of your heart and ask yourself, what would I do if there was someone in this world that purposely set out to make them less healthy and more susceptible to disease? How would you feel if you knew your loved one was dying because someone robbed them of the chance to live disease-free? Or if someone else had led them to believe that what they were doing was for the benefit of their health, when it was actually doing more harm? In order for the food industry to stop robbing us of our right to health, and in order for them to stop their dangerous, deceptive practices, we must come together as a society and push back. We must do it for the health of our neighbors, for the health of our family, our friends, the children of America, and most importantly, for ourselves. Because the solution to health inequality is not in the hands of the food industry. It is in the hands of each and every one of us.